Here we are, InShalla and Ashe. Welcome to the Daily Snippet. I am Tonya D, holistic Sha'medium and subtle energy surgeon, merging the indigenous technologies with the energetic field centers and a couple of pathways as well. But welcome to Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. Pretty excited about today. Don't know why. Just feeling the juice, I guess. But if you have yet to tune into this week's podcast, The Wisdom of Plant Medicine, be sure to listen in. I just finished up round 2 and we explored the majesticness and the magic of the plants themselves. So that will be ready for your listening pleasure in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, go ahead and check out Behold Retreats online. They actually have several magical locations for the journey with those, the medicine of the plants. All over. Super exciting. I might find myself there in the future. However, with the energy of the day, we might actually have a sense of a new character with some futuristic kind of options that are higher vibrations, a new collaboration, a new belief, or even a belief in general, something new. So the door is kind of open to have a sneak peek into a variety of options. So it's as if we've been on the tip of the tongue and really now we're ready to validate it. We have something like, woo, wanting to pop out. So it's really time to give validation to life's really optimistic spiritual course and know that we are in this transformation. So we are in the gateway of our belief chapter. We're literally right in the middle of it. And for me, like, I kind of am nudging into like a new house. I'm like on the breakthrough of that. So you might feel similar to like being like a Jedi Knight or a Yoda or even a Master Buddha at the moment. Looking into the outside world, maybe through the curtains of the windows, exploring beliefs or your beliefs all about it. And, you know, really go into the mirror, if you will, in your own personal bathroom and just reflect on your inner garden to your outer garden and vice versa. You know, what chapter are you on the current thread line of, you know? And we all have a creator to our narrative. And that creator is really in co-creation with the oneness, the source, but it's embodied through our heart center, our heart channel, that juicy golden light that's inside of us. Sometimes it's gold, it might be green, it could be pink. But our mind is often our narrator, creating this dialogue that sometimes or oftentimes it's so logical, it goes down the rabbit hole. And I really feel like we need to get onto our creative authenticity and just allow our heart to be the authenticator, you know, when you get the two thing authenticator, the authentication code of our story, all the adjectives and the verbs and all the juice that comes through by just really consciously allowing our heart, our authenticator, to be open to the juicy juice of Creator herself to actually open that door to receive. And when this happens, then our ideas are more in alignment or in attunement, and they're mindful of the juice, and they start just spicing it up directly in conversation with our heart. So when we allow our mind and our heart to really calibrate and really merge, our heart, which is our queen, our prime directive, if you will, she really has the capability to open us up and open up to that creative consciousness and really get those downloads and receive the juice from those higher realms. It's our intergalactic core processor, if you will. And so now for the month here, let me get that going. The juice. There we go. So in the elemental realm, we have a new energy on the month. Hallelujah. Just kidding. The last phase of the month wasn't so tragic, I don't feel, but I need water. So any kind of water juices me up, obviously. But we have this Yang metal wrap or a Yang Z for the month. And we had the rat day yesterday, so go ahead and watch that. I talked about the energy of the rat. But the metal on the heavenly stem of the month really supports and nurtures the rat, which is it's called the earth branch. And each of these are called pillars. So the stems are the heavenly realm. The branches are what's below. Those are the animals. But on the month pillar, It's supported by the metal energy coming down from the heavens in the month pillar. But our day, wow, our day is total, it's a total earth day. We have a double ox day as well, with the year and the day. So there's lots of yin energy. And the month stem is the only yang energy we have with the metal there, that unrefined metal, which metal is the performance energy for an earth day. So if this was a person, this would be a person who's stable. They're probably a great fit to be a manager, a decision maker, metal energy. They might come across as actually having unrefined language, but it's a day, literally, it's a day to go inward. So with the energy on the month branch being the energy of what we had yesterday with the rat, I think it would be a really great month, or the time that the rat's there, to be or explore being more altruistic kind of characters of what the rat energy is. Just bringing in that energy to really feel unconditionally loved and just making great first impressions. Maybe your reputation gets like an otherworldly boost, and that really naturally just draws people to us. And just being, the magnet of natural positivity, using, the optimistic positivity, like an energy like that for this entire season. And I think it will probably shift like January 8th-ish. We'll probably have ox, hopefully not an ox day. That's a lot of ox energy, but well, we are going to have the ox on the month and ox on the year until we transition into the Chinese New Year. But we have the rat on the branch. And just so you know, knowing that we are loved unconditionally by ourselves and loving ourselves. And then the other, that we're really clear to make higher, elevated, wiser choices, and even bringing people into our village, into our life, that are actually trustworthy, that aren't going to pull the rug out from under our feet. Just removing any of that emotional blackmail, that charge, without expecting really anything in return, just to be in our own essence, our own altruistic character of who we really are. But with the double energy of earth, a double earth there, the two oxes. And just know earth creates metal, or it houses metal, or metal, as you know, being harvested quite well today. But again, it looks like we are once again down the rabbit hole. We're missing the elements. We have nada, zero of wood or fire, unless till that hour comes in. But I would for sure bring in actually the energy of nature, absolutely. We've got a lot of water hidden in the branches, and the metal will feed that water to create more of it. However, we don't have any nature at all. So I would for sure bring in the element of nature. But the ox, if you're born the year, the month, the hour, or even down to the minute of the ox energy, it's really generally people that are born in the really wee early morning hours of the morning, as well as the year, like we have an ox year. So, you're creative, and you can also project out into the future and follow through and even complete your projects. And you have a vision, you have the vision, and you can see what few people can see sometimes, oftentimes. And you're anonymous, you're independent, you move forward with oozing confidence. Often you're similar to like a redwood tree, just moving higher and higher in the forest to, be your majestic self. And just in being majestic, so you can see the world and the glow and the glory and the colors, and just have a vision that's higher elevated for the world, and as well as for yourself. So you could be, you could see beyond the common man to visualize what humanity can be in the future. If you are negative with this energy, though, you tend to be what's called liverish, meaning you get irritable, you're impatient, or even you could implode with anger, kind of like a fire raging out of control, but we don't have any fire there. Or you would insist that you're not an angry person at all. So this could express itself as really eruptions on the body, for example, like rashes or psoriasis, stuff like that. Those are earth conditions on the body, the lymphatic system, those conditions on the body. I work with an elemental energetic skincare line. So this totally goes with it. That's kind of what got me into studying these animals and playing with these animals and all the Chinese methodology, along with the subtle energies and all the juice. But the liver house is the ethereal soul, and that affects our eyes, which is why the eyes are said to be the windows of the soul. So our eyes can sometimes appear kind of drawn in or tired. So if you have experiences as a child, or if your experiences as a child tend, maybe they stifled you or kind of repressed you, you might not even have ever been validated or honored for the person or the individual that you are. And you might even have kept, those energies might have kept you from growing by people that are in authority. So there's kind of an element of immaturity about the ox. If you know any oxes out there, even though, or even if you are a responsible adult, simply because you weren't allowed to experience life and really grow as a child, which I think we need that childlike wonder and that expression. And you might even have had an adult caretaker who were like fearful for your safety, so they held you back and they really did everything for you. So really the liver rules the ability to kind of execute and follow through. That's the nature of it, the energy of it. And you could become impatient with like little things, and not be really great at working with machinery or tools. And you might even tend to jump around from project to project and not complete things. And also, if you were to wake up before 1 a.m. or between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. consistently, you could be pretty sure that there's some anger kind of rearing its head inside of you, begging you to really acknowledge it. So an antidote for this energy is like the need to seek adventures and different avenues where you could grow into your full majestic potential, and just going out and experiencing more of the juice of life, and really just pushing yourself beyond the barriers that were set up for you as a child. So, it's this need to be validated by others that are in authority, or the perspective that they are in authority, and given, to be who you are, allowing you to just be who you are inside of yourself, the essence and the magic that resides within us. So our happiness is kind of derived from being creative and being expressive and like painting our own picture and transforming ourselves into this fully majestic, functioning human being. So we really need to move our life literally from black and white into color, into full spectrum, really. Just adding some color to the black and the white, to that painting, like I said, be the painter. So the ox really wants to just be independent and also really wants to be free. And we all have this energy somewhere in our charts, somewhere when we were born. But you're going to have to just know that wherever this energy is concentrated, and again, we have 2 oxes today, so it might get elevated today. But wherever it's concentrated is really due to the time of our birth. So this is where we might find ourselves feeling a little stifled in life or in that area, and really where we seek to kind of break free and grow to our highest elevated majestic potential. And oftentimes we'll even draw people like that in those areas of our life as well, so they can be the mirrors of how intense our inner desire is, or even how stifled we might even be or we might feel. So it's this magical day to really process all of the things our world has been assimilating and digesting and taking in with our heartfelt narrative. It's almost like literally I can see the heart center, like, pooh, it's kind of gold and juicy and white today. So you could have experienced something over the last week, and only now today you're kind of processing that energy of what cosmically really happened as we look into the cosmic mirror and reflect. So these pathways are opening us up into a future story, and we're adding juice to a new chapter, a new stage in our earth journey. Like, what pathway do we take? It's like the main dish. The main dish is our heart, the queen in our palace, in our corridor, or in our nomadic warrior tent, just filling in and through these tread lines on what path to take. So ultimately, we want to take the path that feels safe, to the queen herself and also the juiciest. And if it doesn't feel safe, then our mind, the will of our mind through our thoughts, is going to come up with this dialogue of why. And also, it's on the other side of the same coin. Even if it did feel safe, we're also going to get our thoughts as to why it felt safe. But either way, the reasons aren't the clue to the juice. That's only, they're only an ingredient. However, they kind of are the main one today. But it's our heart that needs to be supported by a feeling that's already inside of us. And it's kind of bubbling up through these thread lines. So it's a magical day to really utilize some otherworldly galactic creative energy and feel into those pathways. Be in your observation station, just observing the galactic corridor herself. And then flow into the path like a river with that, the path of least resistance. So fairness is really the key to access any kind of negotiations today. Use your heart as the judge, not the jury. And in your emotional foundation, muse about what you believe your emotional security should feel like and open up to how other people feel or would feel in your situation as well. So, you could have a new chapter begin, an official ending to a narrative, or even a beginning of a dialogue, a self-dialogue, or you could even see all of your stories, all of your movie scenes and your chapters and your stages of life, those life chapters, shifting and transforming. So I would literally pour love into your chalice, taking it all in. And our throat center is actually online, also our solar plexus. And I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is a lot better today because it's online, right? So the voice and our will center are kind of two, I won't say they're opposing forces, but they're in alignment. So you could wear yellows or blues or merge the two colors, even if you feel called, and bring in the juice of both of them to your heart space. Yellow and blue kind of turns into green. That's our heart. So it's a zest for life day where we can give it all up to the ghost, the goddess, and the God universe kind of energies, that we have really finally arrived, and we are now on this magical escapade of transforming like a butterfly. We're coming out of our cocoon simply by embodying the truth. We literally raise our frequency vibration, the frequency we've been frequenting. So we're getting out of that place, and it's going to be feeling more liberating or cosmically like lighter in a way, and just allow your essence, your spirit essence, to soar to an octave, and literally take note on how that does feel. So with the cosmic energies, really just stay in the frequency of loving yourself. Something could feel as if, it's off sync, not in alignment. Just know it's perfect and just go with your feeling. So you might have a wild, succulent, wild woman kind of an imagination that might bring up a little fear. Just rewrite the image, recalibrate it, and know that your heart is more powerful, oftentimes more often than we ever think or even know sometimes. But our heart field, you can utilize your heart field to blast away all of those fears and just face them like you are a warrior goddess, and just poof, dissipate them simply by the presence of your beacon of your heart. So with our throat center online, it's the seed sound of the throat. It's a great chant to bring in a healthy self-expression or our authentic spiritual truth, or just literally using our voice authentically. But it's the sound of hum. Getting a little better at that, I must say. So I would literally, if your voice needs a higher octave, I would bring that tonality in. You could even just say it through your vision center and feel it resonate through your body. That's what I would do. However, now off to the stone of the day, the juice of day. This is actually something that aligns with our throat center along with our solar plexus. That's kind of what I was going for. This is a Larimar stone. And Larimar, and again, I get this off Tiny Rituals. I love this little website if you're curious about stones. But this is a lush stone that's soaked to the bone in feelings of relaxation. So it's all about these high vibrations and shaking fears loose. So it's primarily utilized for the throat center, but also it connects to the heart, our third eye, and also the crown, our spiritual acumen. So it deals with all of these upper energetic centers, and it just reminds us how everything is truly connected, and that when we clear these blockages, if we have them, we can really access our higher powers and move through the world with our life purpose, our prime directive. Um, and utilizing it, it means speaking our truth without fear. So it's all about the highest good, and it will actually encourage us always to do what we can to actually embrace that frequency and that energy. So that is super juicy. Cute little snippet there. So then today I went with my cosmic Cosmic Ascension card deck, what I call the Cosmic. It's a long name, but let's just get elevated in our consciousness in order to open up and receive the juice, these otherworldly messages. But the first card we have is Balance from the Syrians, or they call it the Syrian Initiation. And the Syrians, energetically, is a race of people. They have this deeper connection to humanity, and they really assisted in structuring of our DNA in some pretty magical, profound ways. And there really is a lot of information about the destruction of humanity's DNA, but there's also a deeper story that kind of resides between the lines of fear and the linearity of it as well. It kind of reminds me of Spock in Star Trek, the linearity, but DNA has this evolution inbuilt into how it functions. And DNA, these strands are in everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually connected to plants and the life of plants. I'm only saying that because of my interview this morning. But the Syrians is a race of people. They've evolved into this mental and emotional balance that easily sees kind of the galactic broader picture, and they don't lose their equilibrium from emotional turbulence or disruption, I guess. And they create with this long-term view in mind. So with that, it's like the present moment is merely the catalyst, not just for change, but for new creation. So this really soothes our heart's flow in being more adaptive in our understanding, and it builds upon the energy of the Lyrians. So this initiation, or it's about initiation, because the Syrians really began their journey to focus towards change in progress. So really, what is a deep seed of universal information with the energy of the Lyrians really becomes a potential for birthing through the focus and the action of the Syrian energy. So just like how a flower opens to reveal its beauty, or the spirit and the essence of a flower, again, my morning show, but we are really in a space of initiating great galactic change here on Earth as our desires kind of blossom and grow and bloom into our reality. So this change, it often means kind of releasing that which previously felt safe to maintain. And the next step in the creative process, which is our active inner change, we change from the inside out and the outside in. It's this flowing energy, right? So the Syrians themselves are assisting our evolution by initiating mental and emotional balance. So this maintains our focus, and I always see the third eye the focus on the potential that's birthing it right through us, wherever it's coming in and through. But this opens us up at our core, the core of our wisdom, our ancient wisdom that evolves as we really begin using universal laws of creation, God universe laws. That's the channel I subscribe to. But this card, the balance card, all of life is constantly seeking a stable equilibrium between all of the independent elements, the many varieties of them. And imbalance is just kind of polarizing us in one direction. So we balance physically with proper nutrition, exercise, rest, play, etc. The balance of being, that's my online course, was all about balance, all of these and more. And we balance mentally when we use both our heart or our intuition and our mind, and also our intellect, our intelligence, I guess, intellectual gallery to evaluate and also choose. But we balance emotionally when we allow our emotions to flow down those conscious river streams in healthy ways. And we balance spiritually when we seek in uniting and empowering through the thread lines of love that kind of permeates the juice around all of life. So we don't need to immerse ourselves in extremes to really find balance, but oftentimes that might occur, right? But balance is found by removing ourselves from drama and really establishing those boundaries that really support us, and just valuing our own inner peace, taking that pause. And this is where we really find an increased ability to respond quickly to change. So this card is kind of a reminder to look within to find our own innate balance. We have a lot of yin energy today, so I found that curious. I pulled this card. And use really the outer world to kind of direct our attention inward. And when we do this in this way, we create this middle road, and it's not a line between these two opposing forces or two opposites. It really expands out to kind of integrate and bring in everything. So the Syrians, they honor the inner realm as the seed of creation. That's our essence. That's who we are. And so our internal balance really creates an expansive foundation for new growth to expand upon. And oftentimes, we are more powerful than we even most of the time understand. But the language of light in this card is kind of assisting us to release the fears that really polarize us and activate a deeper understanding of our capability and our ability to really transform and create more joy, peace, love in our life, and also in the day-to-day world, in our reality. And life itself, is constantly changing. And really, when we're patient, we have that emotional foundation. This supports those improvements in this magical way. So it's kind of a sign also, especially with all that yin energy, that we possibly might need to meditate or bring in more meditation. Absolutely spend more time in nature herself, and who doesn't really? And just choosing silence and just observe, being that observation, being in that station more often, and just literally focus on eating better, exercising, resting, and playing more. So, an affirmation for balance would be something like, balance is always moving and adjusting, just like the dance of life. You have to balance, super balancing. Just like I've changed my story up here. Let's see, get rid of you, add you. And then I have the Orions. I always call them, they remind me of Oreos, but the Orions. But the Orions releasing. So for themselves, they had this magical, powerful transformation. Probably literally the most dramatic of all of the races for that lineage, I should say. Ancestors, right? So they had this deep pain and separation, but that's where they found redemption and connection. So a lot of the dramas and the traumas on the earth plane are the soul healing from this experience. Even the Star Wars saga, that's the Orion belt, literally drama kind of remembered, like channeled in. And I think aspects of the Christ story is actually derived a little bit from this experience as well, even though the story's been upcycled and rebranded a few times. But that the core of the Orion experience was this powerlessness of victimhood, shame, or even the domination in the harm that really kind of magnified it. It added the disruptive juice to it. So within that information is this deeper truth that really expands all of life through the free will choice of unconditional compassion and forgiveness and love, and the universal flow that kind of initiates new creation. So with this Orion energy, there's this powerful catalyst for change. So we have the courage to heal, which is really assisting all of humanity to grow into, excuse me, to grow into the natural connection that elevates all of life, really. Sorry about that. I got a tickle for some reason. Maybe the Orions are talking to me. Possibly. Yeah, I felt that. Okay. So with the Orions, we as humans, we often resist these painful energies that are the direct path to improving ourselves and to growth. And oftentimes, for me, it's like kneading the soil, aerating the soil. Sometimes when we grow things, just connecting with earth and aerating the soil, then the soil becomes ripe and ready for growth for the new seeds. And we do that as well when we plant seeds in our own personal creation. So the energy of the Orions assist us to become a clear vessel, a clear channel for the joy in our lives and the love and the creation. So their energy, it's the one of releasing and also transforming, really works in this profound kind of way with our own inner empowerment. And this really allows for our divine nature, I would say our divine blueprint, really, that nature, to kind of blossom forth and expand the potential of our everyday life and make it a reality. And really, expansion is really the next step in the process of ascension, in a way, right? Is when we expand. So when that happens, as a result, our courage reminds me of La La La, Wizard of Oz, the courage, and also clarity. We're in the Dagara, peace, water year. So life is always supporting us towards growth. But this first card I pulled is scarcity. And they, as a race, Orions, they really understood that life is a co-creative experience with the entirety of the whole. And scarcity really begins within the seed of feeling separate or separation. So alignment with the whole, the galactic universe, opens us up to abundance as an entire universal force of love that supports our desires, our heartfelt desires. So where humans actually became disillusioned was in the opposition to the cycles of life. We're born into a season. I always take everything back to nature, being born into a season, and then we become adolescents, we become adults, we become mature, we become wise. But when we feel like in our life we are focused on times when the benevolent answer was always a no, when it was somebody else's time to shine their light, or when we were desiring from lack rather than expansion. So all of creation is really allowed by the unconditionality of source energy, and we make the choice to create with love or fear. So this abundant galactic universe allows everybody, allows for all of us to shine infinite in this ever-going strand of waves, really. So this is just a reminder for us to release our scarcity, and it really takes a lot of patience and to be patient with our awareness, to really maintain positive focus while also being realistic with our needs. So this universe really creates these continuous threads continuously. There's really no lack of resources for all of us to live abundant. Sometimes, though, when you get into that scarcity thread line, you feel like there's not enough, but there is enough. So our work, or part of the work, is to be patiently releasing all of those unhealthy perspectives and just open the door to receive the bounty. So solution really forms within an environment that really nurtures the growth. And all of this resides within us. So it's like, I don't know, you can't see my plant, but it's like nurturing my plants. It's a constant thing because I do not have a green thumb. I love nature, but I'm working on that ability. But the language of light is really there to improve our understanding of abundance, of the galactic universe, even within the temporary nature of this physicality that we live in. So it's opening up our knowing of our creative ability so we can really find supportive friends and activities that we really authentically enjoy through our heart space, along with being patient and even diligent in improving our otherworldly perspective, like looking through things through new eyes, and just using gratitude to transform our understanding of what abundance truly is, right? It's not always the paycheck. Abundance has a variety of forms. So we can utilize that even when we're supporting others that really want improvement. So we kind of release the competition. We release that juice. and be happy for people's joy, you know. And as always, you know, you could use nature, music, animals, creativity to really focus on a feeling, the thread line, just positivity, and really open that galactic door, or to where we kind of receive and create our own abundance. Something like that. So these are opposing forces. They're not always negative, right? And then I also pulled from Orion's belt shame. So we know shame and guilt, they're really a similar energy. Shame is just a stronger form of guilt. And people place shame upon others and also upon themselves. Shame doesn't serve a healing, it's avoidance, and it's also continued pain. So when we place shame and guilt upon another person, we are placing ourselves in this powerless position of victimhood. And when we place shame or guilt upon ourselves, we're literally holding ourselves in a position of unworthiness. So the truth is, every experience really has a potential for a benefit. It's just how we look through the eyes. And when we release our shame, or any of it really, we learn different lessons from the challenge or the situation. So these Orions healed their future when they released the shame and the guilt. So this card kind of reminds me that shame and guilt are really, they're kind of unnecessary, and they're kind of destructive to our own growth, whether we're internalizing it or projecting shame on another person. You know, we are free when we access forgiveness and understanding. So just really stand up for yourself and hold your boundaries. Boundaries are huge, right? Without needing to justify why sometimes things shouldn't have happened, but boundaries. And just allow the past really to be our greatest teacher, the greatest teacher that there is, and really allow it to really serve our future, our platter, with strength and clarity. And the language of this card is kind of assisting us to discover the magnificence within us. So when we release the guilt and the shame that have separated us from ourselves, separation from the oneness, that's when our glory and the beauty of life, you know. So really just find a perspective, a benefit within a perspective from what we see as something, a perceived mistake, or even injustices or judgment, just in seeking compassion and forgiveness for those possibly that aren't strong enough to see the best in us, whether it's others or even themselves. Just remember to forgive ourselves more easily, right? So we can quickly transform, along with viewing ourselves and others as this magnificent and unique force of energy and nature. So just release shame and open up to the empowering energy of love. That's kind of what I see. Whenever I feel separate, I always connect to source, because I'm not separate and neither are you. So it's just this amazing day to really surrender to the wisdom that's based on love, and just that love channel, heart-centric, and just releasing our shame, our guilt, and find a peaceful way. You know, have you ever read the Peaceful Warrior book? If you've read that book, I've read it a few times. I actually think they made a movie about it somewhere, maybe on Netflix. But just find a relaxed way of knowing that we are exactly where we need to be for our own improvement. So I would just affirm that I am trusting God and universe to give me exactly what I need when I need it, and in the way I need to receive it. So InShalla, Ashe, thanks for piping in today. Make it a universal, galactic, juicy day. And as always, I will see you on the other side. Blessings to you.